Tell me about your new role at the bank, because this is a brand new job you're in.
Yes, indeed. President Zelik of the World Bank decided it was time to move even more onto the front foot. World Bank today is overwhelmed by how many of our client countries are wanting support on climate change. So more than 80% of World Bank countries are asking that climate change should be one of the 3 or 4 issues we help them on. So we're now in 130 countries. There's a massive amount of activity going out there across the entire World Bank group. And he wanted to create a position at a senior level that would pull this together to make sure we stay on the cutting edge, that we build our own capacity, but also that we really sort of inject into the international community a sense of action. There is amazing energy and innovation. And what our job is to help empower that innovation and then to try and bring that sense of momentum and urgency into the international dialogue. The biggest challenge is keeping up with the level of demand. You know, there's an old-fashioned myth that says, you know, rich countries can afford to take climate change seriously, but poor countries have more urgent short-term needs, and therefore they'll deal with climate change tomorrow. Nonsense. Around the world, ministers of planning, agriculture, energy, finance, prime ministers, presidents want to do 2 things. They want to make their countries climate resilient, and that is very, very hard, and they want to be part of a green growth revolution. And that's not only middle-income countries, although obviously a country like Mexico, you know, is absolutely determined to become a leader in energy efficiency and in certain types of technology, but it's also true of low-income countries. Ethiopia is not only worrying about adaptation, although it is actually worrying a lot about adaptation, it's worrying about how it can become much more energy efficient. Even a low-income country like that can be a player on the low-carbon growth scenario as well. And so what the challenge is, actually for me and for my colleagues, is to try and make sure that we stay on the cutting edge, that we have the capacity, and that we learn from each other and we share that learning. And that, in a way, is very similar and is a link with the Climate and Development Knowledge Network as well.
There are many organizations involved in climate change. The bank's been around for many years. What's the bank's unique position and role here?
So the niche is results at scale. The climate investment funds, that's the biggest funds for climate change in the world. The biggest fund there is the Clean Technology Fund, a $4 billion fund, and that $4 billion will leverage total investment of $40 billion in clean technology. Consider, for example, North Africa. In North Africa, we are working there with 5 countries to have a coordinated program of concentrated solar power. That will triple the entire installed capacity of concentrated solar power for the entire developing world. And as a result of that, not only will a lot of poor households and small businesses get electricity for the first time, but also some of that electricity will be sold into Europe. So what's the agency or agencies that can engage with the private sector at scale, with all the other different types of carbon finance that can come in, who can talk to regulators to get the European regulatory system so it can receive that energy, who can talk to the government of Morocco and Jordan and Egypt and so on. Maybe there are some others, but the World Bank has a lot of experience of putting that kind of package at scale together.
We're a substantial initiative in CDKN, but the bank is a far bigger player. What is it that we can do that you can't do, and how could we actually complement each other?
Well, the World Bank has just gone through a massive rethinking of knowledge management within the institution. Managing knowledge well is a very, very complicated business, and because opportunities today for doing it well are much greater because of technology, communications, and so on, than they were before, and also because our clients, the developing countries, are increasingly sophisticated. So we need to link, the World Bank needs to link with all of the leading players in knowledge management and technical advice. In-country advisory services, the World Bank is working in 130 countries. We don't have the capacity to provide all the technical advice to those countries. We need to be working with you and other providers to bring in world-class expertise. So if the subject is X, you sit around and you say, okay, who's the leading experts in X in the entire world? Even the leading experts on X love to get a phone call and say, by the way, the Prime Minister of Zambia has just asked us this question. Any chance that you could form a team and go to Zambia and really help them out? That's what the CDKN was designed to do. So that would be one area where the World Bank could cooperate with you. But also on the research side, World Bank has a very deep and very professional research program. But you know, this is a very big world out there, and we were struck by how many of our client countries were saying to us, help us out here. You know, this is complicated stuff. We're in charge. We're determined to lead it. But you know, we need some help and advice. This is difficult stuff on both the adaptation agenda and also on the mitigation side.